Hello. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's stream. Very mellow stream today. The good news is it's a beautiful day today, and we have a lot to do. And it appears as though we are on the path to success, actually, right now. Last time we worked on TDD. In fact, that's all we're going to be working on for quite some time, because as we rewrite the BitNations API to prepare for BitNations version 3 to launch our mobile gaming experience in the near future, which includes a lot of hot features such as maps, diplomacy, elections, a lot of stuff. But we have to rewrite the API because the problem is, unfortunately, that we have this beautiful game out on the market, but it has some bugs, and those bugs are a little frustrating. Fixing those bugs is going to take so long, and we determined, doing a little calculation, product roadmap, that rebuilding the API is the ultimate best solution. It'll mean a better game, faster, and mobile ready. So, without further ado, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. But today's stream is going to be pretty mellow. I will do my best to engage with folks, but ultimately, to be perfectly honest, I might be a little too focused to really completely engage, which, you know, may or may not be fair. I think it's fair. I think it's acceptable to be so focused that I don't really have a ton of time to respond, or a ton of focus to respond to everybody. Of course, if you are in the Discord, you can go ahead and join the voice channel BitGod stream, because I'm actually in there, and it means you guys can chat on the stream with me. Yeah, which is pretty cool when you think about it. So I was just chilling there, and I posted in the general chat. I didn't post on Twitter because we're not doing a really anything spectacular today. We kind of left off with all of our tests passing. Woo! Oh wait, why am I making? I have sound effects. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of that. Passing tests is really just kind of an ideal scenario. So, last time, let's do a little recap of last time. Sometimes doing these little recaps actually helps me better understand what the heck I'm doing and what we need to do next. I actually already see what we need to do next, because we are going to serialize our trade class like we did the nation class yesterday. So yesterday we made a nation serializer. We set what attributes. We even made a custom attribute called flag with name, which is really just the combination of the flag and name attribute in an interpolated string. This is pretty cool. And if we look over here, when we make a GET request to the nation's index, we see those attributes, and just those attributes as it relates to each nation in the game. And if we look at a specific nation, oh, we are unauthorized. Well, this is because we did make it so that the nation show, where we show the details of a specific nation, must require user authentication. Now, of course, we actually don't want this. This was just to test our user authentication stuff. This will actually be removed because we don't really want this as it really, we don't actually want this. We want the public to be able to see the details of everyone's nation. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. because we don't really want that. We'll go ahead and make the request, and there we go. Now we see the same attributes that were defined in the nation serializer. However, we did change something pretty significant, and what you're probably going to think next is, oh no, I think it's under requests, yes, and nations. Instead of trying to remember things, let's just reference it. Request nation spec. Yeah. R spec. Maybe that is what I meant. I don't remember typing that. For spec requests. Aha. API comes next. Files. Okay. And we have some failing tests. But wait, everything was just passing a moment ago. Well, we made a slight change. You remember, I got rid of this line, requiring that the user's authenticated before getting the show data. Now that we remove that, our tests are supposed to be like, hey, whoa, look at this, dude. We're expecting unauthorized, but instead we got an okay. Or a 1 is unauthorized, a 200 is a okay. So that means we just have to update our tests here. So when we go to request nation spec in here, and we look at our tests here, API nations, describe nations, blah, 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 and we get to the nation show. When the user is authenticated, we don't really need this test anymore because we don't need to authenticate the user in order for the show data to return. Now, before I delete this, I actually want to be able to reference this because we are going to write a very similar test in our request trade spec. So I know we're aware of our test that is failing and we're aware of why. Let's look at the second fail. To not include this. So in essence, where's that? Wait. Excuse me, to not include. Should return the details of the nation. When it's not authenticated, it should return a 401, and it should not return the details of a nation, but of course it is returning the details of the nation. So we're going to keep this as a reference. We know it's failing, we know why, but what we really want to do, actually, is apply what we had done here to our trades. Although, I think even that is not exactly what we want to do. If we go ahead and go to the current app right now, and we go to the Bitverse, and we look at trade, yeah, it appears, I don't believe I'm signed in. I'm not signed in. So it appears as though you can view all the trade information even as a non-authenticated user. Okay, fair enough. So, I'm wondering if we should just perhaps keep this for now and come back to and refactor this later, because I don't want to delete it. Ultimately, I want to be able to reference this later for future tests. I think that's okay. We'll just leave that now. And instead, we'll continue with what we were originally going to do, which of course is to serialize trade. We serialized nation. Let's make this big screen here and put trade off to the right. And we will put nation off to the left. Moment here. Now, if I recall, we'll go ahead and stop the server. And we're going to do a command to generate the trade serializer. Hey, Benny, what's up, my man? How are you doing? Good to see you. Today's a very mellow stream. So we want to serialize the trade model, just like we did the nation model. I forget the command. So I'm going to reference ChatGPT, because ChatGPT just knows everything. I'm doing great. I feel good. I got to the gym most days this week. I've been trying to go 5 days a week, and I've been going 5 days a week for about a year straight until a couple months ago I got injured and then sick. So I finally this week got back into the gym. So very, very sore everywhere, but I definitely feel better. There's a possibility. There we go. Rails generate serializer, and then of course we're going to do it to the trade. Rails G serializer trade, just like that. Very simply, it creates our serialize, and this is where we get to include our attributes, just like we did for nation. What are the trade things we want? Attributes we want. It's actually what we were originally returning here. This is interesting. Okay. Well, we're going to ask ChatGPT about that. That's my solution for everything these days. Okay. Little tricky here. Boom, boom. This is how we get all of our things like that. Maybe we'll include, yeah, why not? We'll include the ID. Why wouldn't we? Actually, I don't think we actually want the ID. I like to keep the IDs hidden, to be perfectly honest. So now we've created this trade serializer, just as we did with the nation serializer. We don't need to have this return statement here. Actually, I think a couple things need to change. If we go to our trades controller on the show, yeah, we don't need to do that either. We just say render JSON trades. I am quite sure. And then for the show, we'll get to that next. So first, we're going to do the index. So we should be able to render JSON trades. In fact, let's see how we did it here. Perfect. And our trade serializer has all the attributes we need that we want returned. So let's go ahead and run spec requests API trade spec. Oh, okay. Some things have failed. Kind of expected. So our show tests are going to fail. We're not quite there yet. We're first looking at index. We expected to see this information, and instead we got this. We got the nation information here. The show details method, we don't even want to hit that yet. I just want to see something. Well, our trades index allegedly works, so we're going to go ahead and check that here. We should see a list of trades. My server's not running, but B, I'm willing to bet there are possibly no trades in the database here. There are not. That's interesting. I guess we will have to create some trades. I wonder why there's no trades in the database. If I imported the database from the actual the actual production database, should have trades in here. Look, we have 12,000 nations. Are there other? Okay. Just because the schemas there and the models aren't, access that. So maybe because the trade model was generated after we imported the data in the schema, I don't know why that would be the case. Well, I guess we can make a trade. I was hoping to be able to import data as opposed to having to make data. Let's go ahead and look at the original app here. Look at trade. Wow, what a mess of logic. Oh yeah, that's true. We don't even have the we have no logic for that. That's all right. Trade.create. The old-fashioned way. We're gonna just create 2 trades. Open up our schema and look at trades here. We have nation from, nation to. Nation from 1926 and nation to. I'm just guessing some IDs here. 534. From item. It's a probably a string. For now, I'll just go ahead and put an emoji in there. To item. Very well. And from item amount, I'm going to refactor this one day. To item amount. These are strings. Oh, they are integers. Okay. I was about to say. So we want to change this 12 over here to an integer. All right. Countered, accepted, rejected, and turn. And I believe turn is created on the creation of a thingy. So I'll just say it's 1926's turn. 1926 is my nation. So there's 1. Let's just go ahead and create another 1 and change some values here so that when we're looking at them, we understand that there's a difference between them. Yeah. What's another one? Wood. Okay. If we do a trade.count, there are 2 trades now in our database, our development database. So now, when we open up Postman and we make our request to the trades index, we see nothing exactly as planned. Oh, I'm getting a 403 or forbidden. Let's make sure that I have the right authentication here. If I look at nation index, inherit auth from parent, or even nation show, well, the headers are nothing special there. I wonder why I get a 403 on this API, on this endpoint, but not say on this. Wow. Now I'm getting 403 forbiddens. I wonder what changed. Well, let's look at our gets. We've only created a serializer and updated the trades controller. We did not make any changes to cores or application configuration. So I am kind of curious why suddenly we get a 403 forbidden. I've also gotten a unauthorized. when I make that request. Now we're not, now it looks like it's working here if I just want to get a nation's index. I am using MVC, Model View Controller, that's correct. Except this doesn't have a view. This is just an API. So we're using models and controllers, and we're doing test-driven development. So I'm writing tests and letting the tests drive the development. Yeah, I wonder why I'm getting a okay, I wish this would stop. I wish this would well, I'm not getting a CORS error here. Sometimes if you're getting a cross CORS, I forget what it stands for, it's cross origin request something. Cross origin resource sharing. It's to protect an application, and sometimes you can get that, but it would show up in the browser. Very curious why we're getting a 403. I'm also curious why my computer is freezing like crazy. I'm using that for my project. Oh, nice. What's your project, Benny? What are you cooking up over there? API trades. It's, well, now I don't see, oh, 403. Yeah, I just realized sometimes my computer does this. And it's very frustrating. And we might just have to quit and restart Postman. If you make a request to the server before it's completely loaded, I have no idea why this happens. It's like a sorcery. It suddenly blocks that application from making any requests to it, including a browser. But then other applications can make a request to it. So I think that's what's happened here. It has yet to this is the first time it's happened with Postman. Okay. Now that we've restarted the application and the server is definitely fully running, now it made the requests. Very good. We got a 200, and now we see the 2 trades that we just created in the database through the Rails console. Amazing. That's pretty cool. So to recap, because I've already forgotten, yes, our attributes, our trade serialized attributes are accurate. And our trades index is returning all trades, and it is returning the attributes that we want it to return. We run our tests again, they all pass. Okay, great. But the next problem is we don't want to use this method. See what's going on there. I don't think we need to do that. We're already getting the... We want this to be a string. I see. Okay, so let me explain. Oh, cool. I can't... I think it blocked... It says a nation simulation game, but more about building cities and discovering star. Can check it out here if you want star. You might have to Discord it to me because I think it blocked, the chat blocked the link automatically. So nation from a nation 2 are just strings. I do have to think about that. I don't want this show details method, that's for sure. The whole point of serializing is that we don't have to do that. Which means we should be able to remove this and just put trade here. Our test is going to fail because it's going to expect a different output than what it receives. And that's exactly what's happened. Expect JSON nation from keys to contain that. Nation 2 keys to contain that. So we do want to change the way our code works here. Firstly, just take a look at how it's looking. If we make a request to our trade show, nation from and nation to return an integer. In the original code, it returned a string. Maybe a object with the nation details. Instead, it's just the IDs of the nation. I wonder what's better. To return the logic that we need. Well, actually, let's ask ChatGPT. I'm going to say now. Well, that's not the right thing. I want to say, hey, see this method? We got rid of this. We want to get rid of this method, but what makes it useful is that it returns the nations involved in the trade details. I guess I don't know how to put that. Instead, with removing this method and using serialize, the output for a trade is, of course, that's going to be our output. What is the best way to go about handling this? Let's just see what it says to that, because I don't even know what my question is really. I guess what I'm really trying to ask is, look, I want to get rid of that method. I want to use serialize, but I want to be able to pull nested information without having, okay, wow, that's how you do it. That's exactly what I wanted. Attributes from item to item. Yep. Okay, that's so cool. Damn, that's so cool. Is she done talking? Okay. The goal is to use serializer for the trade model that includes the details of the nation from and nation to by serializing the associated nation records. To achieve this, let's go back over to this guy. Let's close out of these guys. That's fine. Yeah. So now in our trade, we're going to take that out, our trade serialize. We're going to still use the attributes from item to item, from item amount to item amount. But then we're going to do this belongs to. Hey, why did it do that? No. Belongs to nation from, but it doesn't belong to nation from. But we're gonna see what this does. Okay, so oh god, is Kiwi here now? Kiwi's in the BitGod streams Discord. Here we go. Chaos. Belongs to nation from serializer. Nation serializer. Do. Object. Nation from ID. Nation dot find. Object dot nation dot underscore from ID. Otherwise, no. Oh no, you left. Thank God. Just kidding. All right. Oh. Hey, Benny. Why did it make me have to accept your DM? That's weird. Why did it block the word islands? Oops. Can I open that? Can I open your thing on stream? I guess you shared the link in chat, so it is now public. Okay, I think I actually saw a link. I saw something you were working on before back in the day. It looks very familiar. Well, that's cool. Discovering islands. Why is islands blocked from chat? Silly. So what we're doing here, I'm not quite sure this belongs to why we have to set it up as a relationship. I'm new to this, so I don't know. But this part makes sense. We're basically saying, hey, is object dot... First of all, where's object coming from? Is that just native to serialize? Is object dot nation from ID, so object in this case being the trade itself, I imagine. If this ID is present, it exists, then find the nation with that project ID. Otherwise, nil. And then we do the same thing for the two. So in fact, what we're doing in the trade serializer is replacing these two things, because we're getting rid of that whole entire method there. So this is going to be nation2, serialize nation2, nation2 ID, nation.find, blah, 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 blah. The serializer uses custom blocks for nation from and nation2 to ensure that you serialize the associated nation, if present, using the nation serializer, which we have a nation serializer. So that's good that we set that up. To use the serializer in your controller, you do something like this. Oh, okay. So now we have to go to our trades controller. And we say, okay, yeah, trade, find params ID. Is this like a better syntax? Find by ID, params ID. Render JSON trade. And then they've added this serializer, trade serializer component or line there. This setup in your trade control will automatically use the trade serializer to render the trade, which includes the serialized nation from and nation2. So, hopefully, if we were to open up Postman and go to a trade show, our nation from and nation2 should be the nation objects returning the nation attributes we set in our nation serializer. Okay, instead, we got a 500. Define method nation from ID. Yeah, this is a naming thing. Yeah, because object is like not a thing, right? So that's the part I think I skipped over. I was wondering where object comes from. I was like, okay. in the active model serializers, object refers to the instance of the model that's being serialized. Right, so that's what I had assumed. But then I wonder why it's let's do a binding.pry. Let's do a binding.pry after this. And let's make the request again. Let's open up our terminal. Binding.pry should stop the code from running. Okay, binding.pry never works. It was supposed to stop the request so I could see where I could meddle in there, but I guess no. I guess I can't do it there. So this object is supposed to be the trade object itself, but it's saying undefined method nation from ID for trade ID 1, nation from. Ah, silly me. There is no ID here. It's just nation from and nation 2. In fact, I think we would get rid of that there as well. All right, let's send that request again. Couldn't find nation with 534. That makes sense because we just used a random number and there's a very good chance that that nation doesn't exist. Nation.find by ID. What did I say? 534. Yeah, it's not a thing. Nation.last. All right, we're gonna use this person's nation. Trade. Dot. Okay. Let's do trade. Dot all. Trade. Dot each. Do. Trade. Trade. Dot. Nation 2 is gonna equal this. Trade. Dot save. And this has to be trade. Dot all. Dot each. All right, so we've just updated that there so that our trade has a nation that actually exists in the database. And there we go. Wow. Oh, that's so cool. So we get the trade detail attributes. Let me show you guys what's going on here. Our trade serialize. So when we make the request for the trade, we get the from item, the to item, all that stuff, right? And then our nation from and our nation to gives us the serialized attributes that we want when nation is returned. This is so dope. I'm really excited about this working. So anyway, we kind of tested it and implemented it on our own, but let's actually run the spec request API trades. It's going to be a slightly different data structure we're getting in return, so we would expect these tests to fail. Couldn't find nation with ID 1. Couldn't find nation with ID 1. These are different fails. These are not the fails we thought they were. Let's go back to our trade spec here, trades spec, and sorry, where did this fail exactly? Ruby line 5. Oh, hold on a second here. Where's this actual? It's the first two tests, right? Which is when the API trades endpoint is hit, it should list trades. Is hit, it should list trades. Boom. Well, first of all, the JSON size is not going to be 5. And this secondary failure, okay. So it's not getting a 200. But it is there. Couldn't find nation with ID 1. Let me just see, make sure I didn't screw something up here. Which I don't think I did. why does it need that? If we go back to here, factory bot create list trade. So we create 5 trades there. And we create the nations down here. We create a trade and then we make that request. That's all fine and dandy. How come this was not failing before? It looks like we weren't. Oh, can I just try this? That should have been failing before. If we weren't creating nations. I see why. I think I understand why. So now when we make a request to the index, I think I understand why. It still returns, even the index still returns nation from and nation to as part of the serialized data. And so there's no nation to reference anymore. So that's why that test is failing. So we need to have 2 nations at a minimum, at just in general, for that to pass. That makes sense. Those tests should pass now. Oh, this is the part where my computer starts to run slow. All right, cool. And let's just run all of our tests here for a second, because sometimes things break. Oh, sweet. That's awesome. So we changed the trades controller, the trade model, and the trade spec, and we added the trade serializer. So let's go back to our trade model. We 100% don't need this anymore. Heck yeah. All right. Get add, get commit, generate trade serializer, and return trades, index and show with serializer. Oops. Oh, come on. I don't know why my get messages do that. Generate trade serializer, index show, TDD index show requests. Sweet. Haha. So we've successfully serialized 2 models in the new API, trades and nations, and we've successfully tested our requests with those serializers. And it's pretty cool what we could do with serialize in order to get relational or nested data and to return that with only the attributes we want. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Makes me pretty happy. Alrighty then. Oh, quick little break. Not break, but just a little break from the screen. How is the stream quality? I know today's episode is a little bit slower and more relaxed and calm and more about code. And I'll be honest, the next few weeks of streaming is going to be pretty much like this. I have so much work to do, and I have to just kind of remain focused on doing the work necessary for the game. But I enjoy streaming at the same time. But it's just that the streams will just simply not be as exciting there. I wonder, is my stream actually freezing up, or is it just my computer can't watch it? It's so crazy how my computer can't handle jack shit. You know, I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'm gonna end this stream and I'm gonna be back in